So here's the point. When the Padres made the final offseason acquisition and they got Nick Pivetta from the Boston Red Sox, some people thought, okay, good acquisition. Other people came away. That's it. That's the only name acquisition of what was really a substandard offseason as we've known A.J. Preller to operate from. He, of course, is operating with budgetary constrictions. You know, I made the comment, Padres are shopping at Dollar General this year, used to shop at Neiman Marcus. And then a baseball executive told me, use the phrase, A.J. Preller shopping at the $1.98 table at Dollar General. And that's what all of his acquisitions have been, because that's all he can afford. But that being said, in the aftermath of the acquisition of Nick Pivetta, starter, Boston Red Sox, I made the comment, I like this starting rotation. I think this front four is pretty good. And it answers a lot of questions about the Padres. And sure, they got to select a fifth guy, but they got a whole bunch of guys they can choose from, including guys that pitched well in spurts last season. Then it dawned on me, how good is this pitching staff? So then I came up with the idea, let's do a little research, and we'll just talk about the top teams in baseball, the pennant contenders, the postseason guys, the World Series guys. We'll compare the Padres starting rotation with the other starting rotation. So I sent this data to John, and this is what John came up with. Okay. These are the pennant contenders. I want you to look at the rotation of the Dodgers. That's Snell, and that's Ohtani, and that's Yamamoto, that's Glasnow, that's the rookie Sasaki, that's May and Gonsolin coming off surgeries. If they're all healthy, I guess season's over. But injuries change the whole concept of everything. Dodgers pitching staff superb. Because we live out here on the left coast, maybe a lot of baseball fans don't pay attention to what's going on the East Coast. And the Phillies have had a really good run. And look at that starting rotation with Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, who's really developed, the late season acquisition of the former Miami Marlin Oakland A, Jose Luzardo, Chris Sanchez, who came out of nowhere, and maybe the hottest young AAA pitcher who's going to be in the majors sometime this season, in Chris Painter. Philadelphia looks really good. On the other street corner, you got the Yankees, the big money Yankees. Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Rondon, who came from the White Sox, had a phenomenal year. Heel, who was a Rookie of the Year candidate last year. Clark Schmidt, and the veteran Marcus Stroman. Yankees are pretty good, especially at the top of the rotation. No one's paying any attention to Arizona, but in the offseason, they got Corbin Burns, the ex-Milwaukee Oriole ace. Already had Zach Gallen. Merrill Kelly's finally healthy, pitched well at the end of last season. Young guy Brandon Pfaadt, really competitive for where he is in the rotation. They got the big money free agents that are still under contract. Those are $20 million guys, Eduardo Rodriguez and Jared Montgomery. They've tried to trade one, trade both, have not been able to, but they're still there. And then Ryan Nelson, who came out of nowhere, came from the White Sox. He's got really good credentials. Arizona's group looks pretty good. And, of course, in the Pacific Northwest, you got the Mariners. And that was a really strong pitching group. They all made 30 starts last year. Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Brian Miller, and Brian Wu. They've been shopping one of the pitchers to try to go get a bat. And then there's the Padres collection. Their top four, I think, are rock solid. Darvish and Cease, Michael King, Pivetta from Boston, and Waldron, who probably will wind up as the fifth starter. If not him, Randy Vasquez, the only Nick in the Padres. If they have any injuries at the top of the rotation, do they have enough to replace those guys? But boy, some of those other teams are just loaded. So, John, that's my opinion. I think the Padres are probably right now ranked, I would say, fifth best in terms of rotation guys. Agree? Disagree? You want to respond? Put that list up there and tell me your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the list is remarkable. I mean, you look at the Dodgers, that's 7 guys, you know, so, and there's still another 8 or 9 that we could put on that rotation if we had to. The Phillies, look, I'm counting there, that's 6. The Yankees have 6. The Diamondbacks have 7 names, if I counted correctly. So these other teams have a lot more depth, it seems. That could, yeah, like you say, that could be trouble for the Padres. I mean, this is remarkable. These teams have amassed so much talent.
And obviously, the Dodger payroll is always front and center as a conversation point, but the Yankees payroll is pretty high. They've had injury problems with the Yankees mixed bag of pitchers at the top. They lost Garrett Cole for a real chunk of the first half of last season. He got back and then was totally healthy going forward. But so the Padres are right there. But I would say the Dodgers have to be number one. I got Philadelphia at number two. I would say the Yankees and Arizona are probably tied for the third best. And I would say the Padres in Seattle might be tied for the fourth best. But the glitch that I have is if the Padres lose any of their frontline starters in the rotation, I just don't know how they replace them because there's nothing really at AAA. And whatever they're dragging out there now is wishing and hoping, rosary beads and holy water, that the guy can be a starter and be a starter for a long season. Waldron did for the first half of the season, and then he faded really badly. Vasquez had to pitch the back half after Waldron went to the minor leagues, and Vasquez had had some good innings and then a bad inning, and he just didn't win very well. So Padres at this point, I would say, might have the fifth best rotation in Major League Baseball. But boy, that's a far cry from where the Dodgers and the Yankees are.
Yeah, it looks like an accurate ranking. I mean, of all these, but you look a couple of comments on this. By the way, I love Brandon Pfatt's name. I mean, that's a great name in the world of baseball. But like talking about the Padres, and you said Waldron, and yeah, we were hopeful that he'll be better than he was last year, and like the year he was good for that one stretch. Stephen Kolek is the name, that we're hearing about him transforming into a starter. He's kind of a big, strong guy like a Michael King, or even like a Nick Pivetta potentially. And I was reading how he only came here as a reliever with 2 pitches, and now he's developed 6 of them under the tutelage of Ruben Niebla.
And his first outing was pretty good, but that's one outing in spring training against not everybody's batting order.
It's a start.
It's a jumping off point, and we'll just have to see going forward. Can he have 3 more or 4 more starts in the final 4.5 weeks before the season actually begins and actually be a guy? If he's not ready for this, he'll be a long reliever, which is fine because there's just a short jump from being a long setup reliever to being an actual rotation guy. First outing was good. Let's see what the second outing looks like.
Now, what do you expect from this lefty Kyle Hurt that came from Korea?
AAA baseball, El Paso.
Okay.
I mean, anybody that, and I've seen some stuff on social media, which is ridiculous. Where he pitched in Korea is the equivalent of pitching AA or AAA baseball at best. When he had his opportunity in Boston, his ERA was 15.15.
That was before he reinvented himself.
Reinvented himself in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
That's major league pitcher doing it against AA or AAA.
But he was like the Cy Young of Korea.
Is there not an echo in this room? That is against AA. Let's just see what he does. So that's where you are. If you're a baseball fan, I did all this research. I just flashed all this stuff up there on the screen that John put together for us. What do you think? Where do the Padres rank as a pitching rotation? And do you agree with me or disagree with me or argue with him that the Dodgers Yankees are probably 1 and 1A at the top in terms of having the best starting rotation? So you're a baseball fan, Padre fan, Dodger fan, jump into the Fans Forum chat box. Give us an opinion of what we just put up there in terms of flashing the rotations in Major League Baseball.
Wow. All right. I love the analysis during spring training. And now the next stop